Okay, in this session I want to explain to you my thought process on skill development and how it transfers into an exercise such as deadlifting. I'm going to give some video analysis through my session and how I use the core momentum trainer to develop skill within a deadlift. A little bit of the background of this client before we get started. She's not a regular client of mine. I've trained her a few times before, here and there, and never anything consistent. She consistently does weight training in a group environment. So she goes to a strength and conditioning class where she does a lot of barbell and kettlebell work. So she's very familiar with training and lifting. The problem she's been having is when deadlifting an Olympic bar, she's been getting a little bit of a back niggle, sometimes pain, sometimes just a feeling of something isn't right. And during her sessions, her workout sessions, she tends to favour the trap bar anytime she can get it. So what I want to do is improve her ability to deadlift using a Olympic bar. Today's session was all about improving her motor skills so she could lift that bar pain-free. So before the session, what we did was we did a little bit of a warm-up. Very generic. I mainly asked her to do the kind of things she would do before a warm-up. So we did a little bit of hip mobilizing. We practiced lifting the bar from the ground with no weight on it. A few sets of that until she felt ready. I then asked her to select a weight that she could manage but that she knew she would probably find problematic, so she chose 50 kilos. So this is the first video, which is just picking up and down, and yeah, to me it's fine. It just seems a little bit sticky. I kind of get the idea that there's two motions. She comes up with her hips first and then her back pulls through. It's a technique that maybe works for her, but given the fact that after this exercise she was complaining that her back just didn't feel right, I think we can sort of take it that it's not going the best. So this is the point where I introduced the core momentum trainer. And so for anyone who has not used the core momentum trainer before, essentially it's a little capsule and inside it are pellets. The task of the core momentum trainer is to make a nice crisp sound. That's the goal. So this exercise is nothing to do with deadlift. I'm just getting her comfortable with the tool and trying to make the sound. So after a few times she kind of gets what I'm asking for. So after she kind of gets what the CMT is all about, I make it a little bit more deadlift specific. So I fire down into each hip and dropping down in, and again the idea is to make that noise nice and crisp. What I really like about this tool is that form is not what we're looking for. It's pretty irrelevant actually. So again, it's just to make a nice crisp noise. So I use this next movement as I feel the difference between a trap bar and an Olympic bar is that you have to lift the Olympic bar from further forward, whereas the trap bar is beside your feet. So I use this exercise to drive more flexion in the spine and more flexion in the hips. And then vary the exercise slightly so that she remains in the squat and drives forward and back. And again, it's trying to make a nice noise with that. Okay, the next movement I'm going to ask to do is to get into the bottom of a squat and try to find extension through the thoracic. And this again is just staying down nice and low, up over the shoulders, trying to make a nice crisp noise. My cues at this point are do this. It's not very complicated, and the less I can cue it, the better. So she has to develop her own methods to I guess, make the core trainer make the noise. That's the task at hand. Again, working down in a deep squat, going from side to side. Again, trying to generate force just down there. And again, this is all coming from within. The coaching cues are drop into a squat and swing the trainer to the left and to the right, making the noise. So after about 10 minutes of that, which is all I took, it was just one exercise after the other, bang, 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 bang. I asked her to pick the bar up again, and this is the result. And you can kind of see she has a bit of a giggle there because the feeling of discomfort's completely gone. The bar's popping up and down much faster, which is nice. Done my job. The next thing I wanted to address with this is the fear of spinal flexion, which I wanted her to get rid of. So I wanted to use the CMT to drive flexion in the thoracic spine for the sole purpose is I want her to know what it feels like so that when it happens during a lift, she can resist it. She doesn't panic, she just knows what to do and how to handle it. So I just use this movement of driving flexion. It also comes into what I want to get from the next exercise. This being skilled in this movement helps from that, so from where I'm going. So the next thing I wanted to look at was something a little different, was how she deadlifted with the footprint in a different position and how each hip reacted. So I just asked right foot in front, pull the bar up. Again, my coaching cues were as simple as this is the foot position, stand up. Drive. Then I exaggerated the frontal plane, so she's lifting over on one leg, and then she does the same in the opposite. And then the last thing I wanted to look at was how she could generate extension through her hips. So I used an exercise. I kind of used this exercise here to shoot into flexion and then bounce into extension, which on her right side trying to get extension was quite tough. And you can immediately see on the left side it is much happier. This could be the reason why her back hurts on the right side, is the right hip doesn't find extension anywhere near as nice as the left, and this could be a long-term plan to try and improve that. On the day we did a little bit and it felt a lot better. So at the end of the session we came back to the deadlift, and at this point I actually put more weight on the bar, so I got her to lift a little heavier just to see how it felt, and again the bar was popping up smooth with no pain. On a side note on top of that, since then and since I've spoken to my client about this, her deadlifting has been a lot smoother and a lot better, and it is stuck. So this week while I'm filming it, she's actually doing deadlift max testing, so I'm going to be curious as to how well it's stuck, and that's going to be over a month later. So we'll see how well the skill development sticks after that.